What is up, everyone? DJ Anubis here with you on the Metal Time Radio podcast with my good friend and co-host Jake Hall. This is Kaiju Unlimited, where we go each month, take a turn choosing a character or characters in this case of different kaiju to sit down and review, talk about. Sometimes we'll talk a little about the movies they're in or movie they're in this case, one particular movie. Now, this was your pick, and you chose Desghidorah and Garugaru. So tell me first why you wanted to talk about these two specifically.
Well, I just figured, why not get them knocked out and out of the way and kind of go through the Mothra films. Since later on this year, I think Kevin's got a special that he's planning on doing. So I plan on being a part of that. So, which is celebrating Mothra's year.
So these two particular characters now, obviously, this is the first rebirth of Martha, which was like a trilogy they did in the 90s. Who was the maker of this? I know Toho, but was this Heisei or what was this exactly?
Yeah, I guess you could say this was part of the Heisei era. But yeah, Toho was part of it.
So yeah, directed by Okihiro Yoneda, with special effects by Koichi Kawakita. I'm terrible with names. Obviously produced by Toho, has always been, but this is a reboot for the fictional giant monster, Mothra, of course, which is the main character. But the two villains basically in this are one, which is a very cool creature called Desghidorah, which is obviously related to King Ghidorah, but has more like it almost comes across more like a Hydra in a way, 4 legs, wings, dragon type. I don't know much of the history of the kaiju itself, so maybe you do. Can you tell me a little bit its relation with King Ghidorah, if at all?
Well, it is. Matter of fact, I actually print out, because I came prepared, I actually print out stuff. Nice. Desghidorah, or in the Japanese version, it's actually really called Desghidorah. So I guess you could say it's like a Grim Reaper type Ghidorah.
Okay.
So here's the little description of this. 65 million years ago, an unspoken horror arrived in the galaxy. A relative of the King of Terror himself, Desghidorah, attacked Mars and turned it into a barren wasteland, literally sucking the life out of the planet. This creature, not content to allow just one planet in this solar system to suffer its wrath, advanced to the nearby planet of Earth. Desghidorah began its assault on the planet, but one thing it didn't expect was retaliation. A race of intelligent beings called the Elias, which are the fairies.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see populated the planet, and they fought against the 3-headed demon. The guardians of the Elias, a race of giant moths named Mothra, engaged Desghidorah. So this was like before it got sealed in the film. The war between the giant insect and the space monster was long and brutal. Finally, the despised dragon was defeated, buried, and sealed in a secret location. Earth, however, was nearly ruined by the Great War. The dinosaurs and many other species of animals went extinct, and the civilization of the Elias was almost obliterated. In the end, only 3 beings of this ancient species survived. Their names were Mole, Laura, and Belvira, which Belvira is kind of the wicked sister.
Yeah.
And she's the one that controls
Garugaru,
which we'll get into in just a sec, then go in more details about that, because Garugaru starred in the other 3 films, which we'll get to in just a minute. But Maul and Laura became the avatars of Mothra, but Belvira, corrupted by the loss of her species, became evil. She sought to one day release Desghidorah upon the world once more. By the year 1997, deforestation and pollution were at a fever pitch. A lodging company was clearing out the lush and beautiful Okakado forest when the workers stumbled upon a strange burial structure with ancient writing. One of the workers discovered a small pendant at the center of the object and removed it, which caused the earth to suddenly quake. He gave the pendant to his daughter as a present, but Belvira quickly located the little girl and stole the pendant and the seal of the alliance from her. Seeking out their sinister sister, Maul and Laura arrived to recover the seal. Belvira fought against her siblings for control of the seal, but Belvira and her reptilian steed, Garugaru, prevailed and escaped. Maul and Laura transport Fairy, which is the small version of Mothra that they ride on,
Yeah.
was unable to fly, and the twin fairies were grounded. They explained to the humans that the seal had been holding Desghidorah captive for many years, and with it, Belvira would attempt to control the terrible monster. At the site where the ancient artifact was uncovered, the ground shook violently, and Desghidorah's tomb began to rise into the sky. The man who discovered the seal was under control by Velvira, who used him to demolish the tomb and by driving a bulldozer carrying a load of dynamite directly into the jagged structure. Her plan was a success, and after absorbing the massive amount of energy from the surrounding forest, Desghidorah announced his triumphant return to a terrified world. The violent beast continued to draw the life out of the forest, for it was planning to soon gain enough energy to take to the skies on crimson wings. The Elias watched in horror. They knew what they must do. Mothra was the only one who could stand a chance against the soaring savage. So they called upon the Guardian to come forth and do battle with the wicked creature once more. Mothra was protecting her newly laid egg, which is Mothra Leo, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was summoned, she flew to Japan to fight the three-headed demon. Mothra attacked Desghidorah, and the two engaged in mortal combat. Mothra, however, was old and weak after giving birth, and Desghidorah was far too vicious for her to handle.
Now, on a side note, I know that the movie referenced, like, I didn't even know this really initially. I've seen these movies before, obviously, but Mothra's never been a character or kaiju I really paid a whole lot of attention to. But apparently, they have like what is called Mothra Leo, which is a male version of the moth.
Yeah, that's the one that you'll see throughout the film, which that will be a future pick.
Okay.
So let's see, where was I left off?
I will say just before you continue, I just want to say a little bit more about the movie itself. So Belvira, as you said, is one of the sisters. Like there's a trio, but she's the one that's more of the dark side. One thing that's come clear, which might have been like an influence in GVK, is Belvira is controlling Desghidorah, but she soon loses control of it because of how powerful Desghidorah is on its own. So much like when we have in GVK with Mechagodzilla with the Ghidorah head, and it was the son of Sarazawa, who was trying to control it, but he ends up losing control of it as well. So there's almost like some influence there with that.
Oh yeah. Well, she lost the seal, and that's how she lost control over King Ghidorah or Desghidorah. But yeah, she loses control because Mothra swipes the pendant away from her using her antenna beam or something.
Yeah.
But Mothra, however, was old and weak after giving birth, and Desghidorah was far too vicious for her to handle. Desghidorah relentless attack Mothra, causing great harm to the benign protector. Sensing his mother's demise, the egg that Mothra left behind began to hatch. Even though it hadn't grown thoroughly enough, the baby began his journey to assist his mother. When the larva arrived on the scene of the battle, it attacked King Ghidorah using its energized silk, which I thought was very interesting because you could see the rainbow effect in the silk.
Yeah.
This new rival momentarily confused the grotesque gargantuan, but it swiftly located the young creature and bit into its soft flesh. It sadistically lifted the now defenseless young creature in its horrible mouth and beat the tiny monster against the ground as blood spewed from its wounds. The infant was thrown aside as his mother came to his defense. Desghidorah and Mothra battled fiercely, but she was once again repelled. The larval Mothra camouflaged himself and continued his attack. When Desghidorah discovered his location, Mothra entered the fray once again. She lured Desghidorah into a waterway and caused him to destroy the dam. Mothra grabbed her infant and fled the scene as Desghidorah was washed away by the fury of the surging water. Now, before I continue that, Desghidorah had multiple powers, which I'll go through real quick before it reached its final form.
Yeah, and I was like speed and flight. Of course, flight came afterwards, but energy absorption.
Yeah. So able to breathe hell's flame from its middle head, can fire lava got energy bolts from all three heads. Those are like those kind of like plasma balls that he shoots out.
It's a pyroclastic shot or something like that. The thermal beams.
Yeah, that jet stream of flames that he shoots out the middle head. That's pretty much the hell's flame. Able to perform shock pulse, a powerful shockwave emitting from all over the body, can send an electric surge through its bite. Able to do a fierce pyro causing the ground to split, opening and releasing flames from within the earth. So that's from its normal stage, and that's all his abilities. Mothra flew out to the sea to safety, but she was far too weak to go any further. She dropped her child into the water and crashed into the surf, not far ahead of him. The baby attempted futilely to keep her afloat, but she sank below the surface to a watery grave. Her and the Elias companions wept for her, but her infant was ready to incite swift and brutal revenge on his mother's murderer. So he swam away and formed a chrysalis and began to metamorphosize. So he ended up going to this certain island where it was like a I want to say 100-year-old tree or 1,000-year-old tree that has survived throughout the age, and he made his cocoon there, and that's when he transforms into Rainbow Mothra or Mothra Leo.
Yeah.
Desghidorah, now unopposed, continued to absorb the life out of Hokkaido, creating a massive cloud that covered the island. Eventually, it gained enough energy from its stone like back and sprouted two mighty wings. Desghidorah was finally ready to take on the world in full force. So after he absorbed all of that energy, now his abilities have upgraded. So now he can flight at Mach 23, releases hurricane winds from wings, and pretty much the same as the landing forces. So rising into the air, Desghidorah below bellowed in triumph. The ancient monster from space, the destroyer of civilization, was revived once more. After a long fight with Mothra, her young, it was no longer restricted by movement. It flew over hapless countries, rapidly ruining all of the flora in the area. However, its reign of terror was not to continue any further. Returning to the fray once more was young Mothra larva, had transformed into its imago stage, and was now ready to fight his old adversary. Mothra attacked, surprising the reptilian extraterrestrial and knocking him from the sky. Desghidorah roared in anger and rose to fight its foe. With the energetic young moth provide to be far more agile than the bulky dragon, confused his opponent with his light speed, agility, and rapid fire techniques. Mothra Leo was quickly gaining the advantage in battle. Desghidorah and Mothra struck one another head on, and the evil from another world was sent plummeting into the ground once more. Mothra swirled through the sky, raining several energy beams at his unfortunate foe. Desghidorah was immobile, and it slipped into unconsciousness. The seal of the Elias was hurled into the sky, and Mothra and her twin fairies used it to trap the terrible space monster in the earth. Hopefully, Desghidorah would never return.
Yep.
So, Desghidorah was pretty menacing. I call him the Grim Reaper of all the Desghidorah designs.
It's believable, yeah. You know, he's got a lot of different weaponry at his hand, his disposal, and very destructive, of course.
And he looks more menacing with his flying form. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was menacing in his regular form without the... Because you can see, like, kind of reminded me of Gigan in a way.
Yeah.
You know how his sails were? That's how they used that. And that just looks... He looks more dragon-like.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, you know, I love King Ghidorah a lot, but in some ways, Desghidorah looks almost more menacing because of the extra weight he can use, the 4 legs now. It's almost like he's got more at his disposal just in a physical form compared to King Ghidorah.
Oh, yeah, and it was... I love the design of the creature. Definitely menacing. They actually do have, and they just reissued Desghidorah sculpture that should be available in October, I think. So once that comes available, or if I have a chance to pre-order it, I'm going to try to pre-order it.
Yeah, that's probably one. If it looks like anything like this here, which I'm not even sure if this is actually just a concept or a real thing, but if it looks anything like this, I'm all over it.
That first picture that you showed, the other one,
Is it this one? Oh, let me pull, is it this one or is it?
nah,
It's probably this one here.
this one, it looks like that just about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's still lit as fuck. Oh, I totally get that.
Oh yeah, and it's real reasonable too. I think with tax, it'll probably be in the
80?
300
Oh,
mark.
300s?
Yeah, it's an X plus figure, pretty much.
Well, if Hyatt does one, I'll probably get that, which theirs aren't bad at all, but
Oh yeah.
X Plus is really, really good. It's just hard to spend that kind of money for myself.
So I won't spend too much time on Garugaru, but there you got Garugaru, then you got 2, and then 3, which is so this picture right here is going to be from the third one. This is the third version of Garugaru, which pretty much he has pretty much the same amount of weapons. He just gets upgraded each one. He's a goofy.
Yeah, and also like one thing when I was rewatching Rebirth is that when it has the subtitles, it's like saying, yeah, he's kind of like purring. He's kind of like almost a cat to her in some ways.
Yeah.
This is actually a cool figure. This apparently is like a paint. Someone's painted this, but it looks pretty fucking cool.
Oh yeah.
For what he is. In some ways, I would have liked to see like a larger version of him come made, like at some point, because obviously with the fairies, he's going to be only yay big.
Oh yeah. And it's funny too because in each version, because in Rebirth of Mothra, he's normal looking. He fires that beam from his mouth, and apparently he has a flight at 1,000 kilometers per hour. So that's in the first one, and oddly enough, he gets destroyed. I forgot how he got destroyed, but something ends up happening to him, and you can see all the wires in his neck. Then he gets rebuilt and has like armors and stuff.
Yeah.
In Rebirth of Mothra 2, he's got, still the fire beam from the mouth and can fire beams from cannons that are mounted in his wings. And apparently in 2, he can fly at Mach 2. And then in Garugaru 3 from Rebirth of Mothra 3, he's more advanced, got like a little, kind of like Terminator looking, like and still the same stuff, pretty much as 2, can fire from mouth and the wing cannons. But yeah, I thought it was a very unique design because you have the fairy Mothra and then you have the evil, which is funny because Belvira in the third one ends up becoming good because after she realizes that all she's done in the last 2, because you kind of see it in the second one, and all the outfits that she has. I mean, the actress is gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but out of all the suits that she has worn, I kind of like the one from the second one. That looked nice. Because
all the actors did great as the fairies. Like I thought they all did a really nice job, and how they interacted and stuff like that. Even though it's kind of funny to watch them now, it's like obviously they didn't really see everything that was going on. It was like green screen or whatever. They had to kind of look a certain way at something, but they still did a pretty good job for the movies that were made. They were able to kind of continue and make it believable enough that they were seeing, like even the humans when they were seeing like the small moth with the girls on, they had to pretend they were actually looking at it.
Yeah, and I the mother in the first one, I was just, oh my god, I was just like, calm down, woman.
Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, she screamed at everything. But yeah, I mean, Laura, it was the same actress in the first 2, but in the third one, it was a different actress who played Laura. in there. But yeah, Desghidorah, man. I mean, he was pretty vicious. I mean, can absorb the energy from the planet and then do the multiple techniques and stuff. I mean, whew. Definitely a menacing. I liked his the oh hell, what were they called?
Elias?
No. I'm trying to think
Oh,
of it. His the lava god energy bolts. I
oh
like
yeah.
I like those better than I did the jet stream flame, which I didn't mind that, but it was better for him to do the like that plasma energy bolts, which also could stream out too as well. So
Well, here's the thing. So Desghidorah, like obviously, these movies were shot way back when in the '90s. But would you like to see maybe another either reboot or maybe a standalone film that actually deals with Desghidorah, with or without the fairies? Would you like to see something like that happen?
ooh, that is it. You know, my best answer for that one is probably a combination of both. I would definitely love to see like maybe do a prequel explaining the origins of Desghidorah and how it became, and then like have him like show him battling like all these Mothras from ancient time and all that in the Elias, and then kind of like probably after the first one, maybe bring him back for like a rebirth of Mothra 4 or whatnot, and have them fight him again, but this time instead of sealing him away, actually try to destroy him.
Yeah, I think in some ways, like, and I'm being selfish here, obviously, but it would be kind of fun if they did like Mothra 4. Let's say they bring Desghidorah back in Mothra 4. Um, I would like to also see like it's almost like a destroy all monsters type thing. Only this time it would be like Desghidorah, King Ghidorah, and Kaiser Ghidorah. And then you would get Mothra, Godzilla, and then just choose like another ally to fight them. I think that'd be so much fun to see all the Ghidorahs together because that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
That'd be so much mayhem because like the Ghidorahs alone are just such chaos within themselves.
I would say this: if it would be another ally, it would need to be an ally that has like a ability or something, because unless they can upgrade Angus to have him like shoot out a beam or something, I would.
Either that or like, we've talked about it before when I was with Koji talking about in years, like, have maybe, how he does like his rolls, like just maybe have him do like spikes that shoot out from his back and like somehow they can penetrate the armor of the Ghidorahs, maybe,
Oh yeah, ooh, that would
kind of
be
make him
cool.
like almost like obviously he's like a giant armadillo, but he could be almost like a porcupine too, in a sense. Uh,
Well, yeah.
now, also, if we saw Desghidorah in any form come back, would you expand on his arsenal of attacks, or would you just keep him the same, or would you change the look at all?
Uh I would probably keep his attacks the same. Maybe tweak his design, maybe just a little bit, just a hair, but nothing real serious because I mean he's menacing enough as it is the way he looked as is in the film. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like that's one of the things that kind of makes him a little bit creepier than King Ghidorah because even if you watch, King of the Monsters, the way they did Ghidorah, and that Ghidorah is menacing enough, but Desghidorah, he's like even in the picture that I did with AI here, like they gave him like the straight orange eyes. Like if you turn those like maybe totally white, like GMK, that would totally be scary as fuck. You know, just
Yep.
make him total menace. Yeah. So okay. So Garu. I've never been a big fan of the small fairies in terms of just my enjoyment from the movies. To me, it's kind of like takes away from all the monster mayhem a little bit for me. Now, the way that MonsterVerse does it, they kind of make the girls older. You know, obviously they have some connection to monster, but not in the same way that we see in the past. But for Garugaru, like, would you like to see him as like a full size kaiju, or do you just like him as like this little thing that flies around with one of the fairies?
You know, honestly, what I would do is like keep a small version, but have a bigger version as well that can do battle with like Mothra or whatever.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it. Like keep one for Belvira, you know, because yeah, it's just tiny and all that. But also like have a bigger one that could, in case one of the other monsters fails, she can send the big one out.
Yeah, that'd be cool because, and obviously, the other two sisters had the little Mothra, so you could have the bigger Mothra, which they did have in the film. So having a bigger Garugaru would be kind of neat for Belvira to have on hand in case she needed it. You know. All right. Well, what do you think is like the long-term legacy of these two kaiju in terms of like their popularity versus whether we'll see them again? Like, what do you think the overall legacy will be for them?
Garu was like a fun little cat-like monster, basically that purred and apparently could fetch a stick. Had a stick in its mouth, but
Yeah.
it was kind of funny when Belvira was trying to, you know, tell it something and it wasn't listening. It was like popping. It's like, "Grrr." But as for Desghidorah, I think fans would love this creature. I think they would kind of love to see him come back in a way, uh, whether it's in a comic book or another film. I mean, Lord, they've like I mentioned to you, they're releasing him in a reissued figure, so which is cool. So, but other than that, I think Death Ghidorah is like the Grim Reaper of all the Ghidorahs, as more menacing than the other Ghidorahs that we've seen. I mean, don't get us wrong, we love all the Ghidorahs, but this one was very malicious and basically was a planet eating, absorbing energy,
Basically, a planet killer.
pretty much.
Well, let me ask you though, because obviously you're a big kaiju fan like I am, but you have a little more in-depth history and knowledge of it. But so Toho owns this property, obviously. Now, in the history of Godzilla, he's never faced Death Ghidorah or anything like that. Is there a specific reason? Like, does Desghidorah stay specifically in the Mothra universe, or do you think that it's possible that at some point he could face Godzilla on some level?
I think in some possibility he could face him in some level. I mean, in a way, Godzilla kind of already faced the four-legged King Ghidorah with
Kaiser,
Kaiser
yeah.
Kaiser Ghidorah, but I could actually see him facing Death Ghidorah. I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think that
The
it's so funny sometimes. 'Cause I know that, obviously Toho, like America, we obviously, Legendary spent, money on the main characters that everyone's pretty familiar with, at least for the most part. Toho, though, obviously has to be careful what they put out, because even though as kaiju fans, we would love to see Godzilla fight any kaiju, Gamera included, but
oh yeah,
you'd have to get the rights to like Gamera, but then with Desghidorah, they have to make sure there's going to be an audience for it. So to me personally, I would be the audience. I don't care if I was the only one or you. Like, I'd go in and see this movie, but obviously they have to think about the mass population. Like, even now, it's going to be very interesting to see how Godzilla Minus Zero does, because, again, you're taking a Godzilla film and bringing in monsters that probably most people are not familiar with. So, and even with the new Legendary one, you know, Space Godzilla being the one that's supposedly in that, it's going to be interesting how people react, because when King of the Monsters came out, I remember some of the reviewers, which pissed me off, but they were like, well, we don't know anything about these creatures. I'm like, well, we do if you know the fucking history, but they don't. So that's the problem. Like, you know, for me, it's like, I wish people would spend a little more time researching like what they're going to watch. Like, if you don't know what you're going into, maybe you should do some research before you go and watch and review it, because otherwise your review is kind of half-hearted when you don't really understand the context of what's being presented to you.
And I'll say this, I mean, Toho's doing a good job of keeping the mystery of Minus Zero. They're not revealing too much, so I give them a lot of credit, because they want us to be, you know.
I'm so frustrated too. It's like, I love it, but I hate it.
Yeah, it's like, we want to know who the creature is, but yet you got to be patient. You got to be patient.
Well, it's just, you know, -1 was so fucking good, especially from the story writing, that like, I'm just so anticipating what, you know, that Takatashi's going to do, just because he's so good at it. And so it's like, man, I really want to see, I just want to get a little morsel of what's going to be, what that creature is going to be, because I'll lose my shit.
Yeah, and it's going to be, because I don't know if you've seen it or whatnot, but apparently it's going to be the longest Godzilla film for Toho ever. It's going to be 2 hours and 15 minutes.
And that's good. Like, it makes sense. And again, if his writing is consistent, like what he did with -1, then sure. Because I was, you know, it's funny, because how long was -1? I mean,
it was exactly 2 hours, just about, maybe a little over.
But it never feels like that, ever. It never feels like that.
No.
And so that's what's wonderful about his writing and his directing, because I can go, like, if I watch King of the Monsters, that feels longer than fucking -1, which it probably is a little bit, but just in terms of how it's played out, like, it's weird. It's just weird how -1 just flows so nicely.
Oh yeah.
Well, I do have my pick for next month. We're going to alternate each month, and so I have made my selection for next month, and it's going to be Tiamat.
Ooh,
so it's going to be a lot of fun to dive into a legendary a little bit, and a creature that we know very little about, but is very unique to its own. And I hope in the future with Legendary they come back and kind of give us a little more of him, maybe another ancestor or whatever. They've done that a lot.
It's called Monsterverse Declassified. Kind of, it's a graphic novel. It gives an in-depth on Tiamat, pretty much. Nice.
Good. Now I know where to get my information.
I can go ahead and give you my pick for October.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure Kevin might want to join this.
Okay.
But I figured we'll go ahead and continue with the Rebirth of Mothra, and we're going to do Grand Ghidorah.
Grand Ghidorah. All right, I'll make a note of that. All right. So yeah, so next month and the month after we are set. You don't really do any live stuff or, you know, YouTube stuff other than what you do with us as collaborators, unless you've changed something you're going to do.
Oh, no, I just basically joined y'all. I know me and Kevin are hopefully eventually are going to do our review for The Human Vapor that came on Netflix.
I still want to check that out.
It was, I enjoyed it. I'll do my review on that, and then I know I'm wanting to be a part of the Desghidorah for Kaiju Connections.
I think that's Sunday, right? That's a Sunday.
You know, I don't remember. I really don't. I think it is this Sunday, but it might be next Sunday. But I would have to look at that calendar thing again. But yeah, and then other than that, whatever pops up that I might be interested in. So,
well, as for me, So obviously later today, around 5 p.m. Eastern, it won't be live, but I'll record it with Jedi Grand Veil. We are doing the next Vintage Cult Cinema. It's Jedi's pick. He picked a movie from 1981 called Looker, which actually was very fun. It's a Michael Crichton film. Never heard of it. Checked it out. It actually has a lot of cool stuff in there that kind of was foreseeing our future with when it comes to automated vacuum cleaners and stuff like that. So that was really cool to see. But it's a very interesting plot design as well. So it's all about superficial and how much women put too much emphasis on their looks and stuff like that as well. So very interesting film. We'll be talking about that later today. Going into next week, Tuesday, I have an interview with Todd Sheets, the director of Wolf Moon Rising, a movie I just reviewed not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
Wednesday, I'm getting back with Rick Myers. He's in better health now. With another Lone Wolf with Dub, we're going to review LA Street Fighters, aka Ninja Turf. Then that next Saturday, I'm getting with Kevin Lambert, and I don't know if you're going to be there or not, but we're going to be doing. He's doing his Clint Eastwood trilogy discussion on the dollar movie. So Fistful of Dollars.
Oh yeah, I've never seen them, so I'll probably just be in the chat.
I think they're all on Tubi. So if you get the time, go ahead and check them out. They're all very good. But yeah, so that's happening then, and then closing out the month basically on the 27th. Anthony Jordan and Mr. Tony and Dead and I are getting together for Ghouls at Midnight. We're now a trio. Mr. Tony's back. And we're going to be reviewing the movie Kingdom of the Spiders, which is my pick for this month, starring Mr. Captain Kirk himself, William Shatner. And then closing out the month on Saturday the 29th, I'm getting together with Olvin. I think Kevin's going to be there and maybe Jedi. I'm not sure, but we're going to be reviewing Flash Gordon. 1980.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so a lot going on there with that. But as always, sir, thank you for joining me today. Looking forward to doing this again next month with you and the month after, of course, and whatever future holds. We have a big ass list of shit to go through in terms of kaiju. So we'll get it done. And this is a blast. I'm glad you had a lot of that good info there. That helps out a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, God, that's the most I've read in a while. Normally I can remember most of this stuff, but
it's tough, man, because even you sent me some of the comics for Mothra and stuff like that. I still haven't had a chance to look at it. I've briefly looked at it, but it's I have so many books on Godzilla that I want to sit and watch or read, and I just don't have the time. But it's so amazing because the artwork's amazing, the stories are cool.
You'll definitely enjoy the Mothra, Queen of the Monsters. I think you will. You really will.
Maybe I get Missy to read it. She loves Mothra. So, But, yeah. So, anyway, we'll keep continuing this. Let us know in the comments how you felt about Rebirth of Mothra and these two kaiju specifically. If you've seen it, what'd you think? What'd you think about our topic, about talking about them, what we want to see in the future with them? And like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. And Mr. Jake and I say sayonara.
Oh, yeah.